Every town has a school that children whisper about. In mine, it was St. Mary's. The classroom still stood. The playground still held rusting swings. But no one spoke of the basement. They said it was sealed after an accident. A fire. A collapse. Different stories. But all with the same warning. Never open the basement door. I was young, curious, and one night, I learned why that warning was never enough. The basement door sat under the main staircase. Rust-eaten, painted shut, but behind it, you could always feel air moving, as if the door was breathing. Sometimes during class, we'd hear it, a faint knock from below. Not angry, not loud, just patient. Every teacher ignored it. Every student pretended not to hear. Except me. Once, I asked a teacher about it. She froze mid-sentence. Her chalk snapped in half, and without turning, she whispered, "Do not say that door's name. Not here. Not ever." That was all. Her hand trembled for the rest of the class, and I noticed her eyes never touched the staircase again. Years later, the school closed. I returned, older, with a flashlight and foolish courage. The basement door was waiting, chains rusted, but loose. I pulled them free, the door side open. A draft rose up, damp, warm, filled with the smell of wet paper. I stepped inside. The stairs were narrow, wooden, groaning with every step, and halfway down, I heard children laughing, but the school was empty. SFX, dripping pipes, rat scuttle. At the bottom, the air was thick. Dust floated like tiny memories. Shelves lined the walls, stacked with broken desks, torn books, half-burnt uniforms. But it was the smell that struck me. Not mold, not dust, a sharp sweetness, like flowers placed on graves too long ago. And beneath it, rot. In the first room, a blackboard leaned crooked against the wall. Words already covered it. Faded lines of lessons from decades past. Then, before my eyes, a piece of chalk rolled across the tray. It lifted. It wrote, "Present." One word, and the chalk dropped. In the next room, rows of desks sat abandoned. Dust piled high, except one. Its lid opened and closed slowly. Like lungs, I stepped closer. The groove where children carved names still cut deep. One name caught me, mine, but I had never studied here. The desk inhaled once more, louder now, and the room filled with the faint scent of smoke. The corridor stretched deeper than any basement should. I walked slowly, leaving clear footprints in the dust, until I looked back and saw more footprints beside mine, smaller, bare dozens of them, walking in perfect rhythm, following me. At the heart of the basement stood a furnace, black iron, split by rust, cold, dead. But when I touched it, heat pulsed inside. Not fire, not coal, something alive. And in the soot, scratched deep, they never left. A row of lockers lined the wall. Most hung open, empty, but one rattled. I pulled it. Inside was nothing, only darkness deeper than space. Then a sound. Rose? A muffled scream. Dozens of them, as if children, were trapped inside walls of iron. I slammed it, shut. The scream stopped. The silence after was worse. From the far hall came a voice, a woman's, firm, steady. She was calling names, attendants, one by one. Each name echoed, and after every third, a small child's voice whispered, "Present." When she reached the last name, she paused, and then she called mine. From the assembly room, voices rose, children singing, but the melody was broken, discordant. I peeked through the door. Dozens of children stood in rows, grey skin, empty eyes, singing without lips moving. Their choir turned toward me in unison. The song stopped, and all at once, they whispered, "Stay with us." In the final chamber, Chairs were arranged, caps and gowns hung neatly. A stage at the end, on it, diplomas waiting, one bore my name. The audience seats filled with shadows, slowly clapping, and the teacher's voice returned. You've passed. Now you belong to the basement. I dropped the diploma. I ran, but the truth followed me out. The school basement never forgets its students. And once you answer the roll call, you never graduate and